sans dire à tout.
Hey jerk faces, it's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's a conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. Yeah, we're having all sorts. What was it? Yes, thank you, Nicole. I'm sorry, did I? Was I not supposed to use your name? Okay, thank you, Nicole. Oh, Jesus Christ, China. Oh God, this. It's God. Yeah, I mean, I said it before, but I was alluding to like digital tyranny, and that's the reason why we started so late because usually me and Robert to do the show we use Skype, and what is it? I signed into my Skype account, and I mean for the past while it's been asking me to update my software, but I've been putting it off. And finally, like they forced my hand. They wouldn't allow me to go onto Skype unless I updated the software. And once I did that, it totally messed up everything. And we had to quickly find a workaround because for some reason the Skype window wasn't being picked up in the broadcasting software. Yeah, so and constantly hearing yourself back in the output is fucking annoying. Maybe, or maybe I just won't talk as much. Yeah, I mean it's if I knew this was gonna happen, I would have taken the time to iron out all the kinks. But we're flying by the seat of our pants, and it feels like I'm screaming right now because I keep constantly hearing my words on a delay in my ears. Ah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. That's what we should. That's what we should. That's what I'm gonna retitle this. I'm gonna retitle this foobar. I hope so. Jesus. Hold on. Jesus. Say something.
Say something. What's going wrong?
Oh, because your audio bar wasn't going off.
So I had no sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully.
Let's try that. Say something. Okay, it didn't move. Damn it all. Oh, God, I think there's. Say something.
Say something. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, but I'm afraid everyone else is going to hear the echo now.
Everyone's going to hear the echo? Are you hearing an echo from me?
No, not from you. Just me.
Not from you. Just me. Just you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I forgot I hooked up the Bluetooth headphones, so like all the audio is coming out through here, and I usually have the output set to speakers. And so I thought I was being clever, but apparently not clever enough.
Everything? Are we all set now?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna take these off.
Yeah, this is just one of those streams tonight, Andy.
No, seriously. Yeah. Well, maybe my echo won't be picked up that much, but because that's what I was afraid of. Because I was afraid that the microphone would pick up the echo and I don't know, cause even more of a disturbance.
Yeah, because I hear a little bit of the echo on your end.
Okay. All right. No, let me just try and turn this down as much as possible. All right, so yeah, let's get this conversation started. Damn it!
Fubar, just
Fubar,
that's
Fubar, like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, we we were gonna do a kind of a catch-up episode. To kind of touch on all the bit of news that we missed during our 2-week break.
Yep.
So let's try to hit all the things that we missed, or as many of the news items as possible.
All right. Why don't you start off, Andy? What do you want to?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, I have some notes. Look at my notes. What did I say? Well, I'm gonna leave like all the stuff that you hated for you, but I mean.
Well, there was one news story that really disturbed me that I do kind of want us to hit on, but what are some of some of the other things that occurred over our break that you thought were
well, there was the failed women's march up north in Northern California.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, it was hilarious to me because they canceled the the march because of too much white women's participation.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought that was hilarious.
That is hilarious.
I mean, just given the fact that it's in Northern California, and Northern California is predominantly white, and so you just don't have the diversity you would have in Southern California. And so yeah, the leaders of, I don't know if it's the National Women's March leadership, or just in the North, or just in California, but they shut it down because there wasn't enough representation of women, even though in that part of California, again, is predominantly white.
Yeah, I had heard that was kind of an issue that or they felt was an issue, that it's well, we need to have this diverse, diversity, which is just the we can't have white people. We had to have all these women of color, or whatever term that they want to use, because God forbid that.
Yeah, it's funny. On that note, I think from now on, I'm just gonna say colored person.
You're gonna say what?
I'm just gonna say colored person.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what they are.
That's what they're saying. It's no different. It's just they're really making no distinction. Colored person of color. It's the same thing.
And that's what the left does. They switch, they flip language, they change language around to essentially say the same thing, and it's kind of see, we changed it. We're better. It's no, you're not. You're just saying the same thing that assholes from 50, 60 years ago were saying.
Yeah, from Deliverance. It's just yeah, and and I'm also going to do it just as a tactic to unbalance them. So I was I think colored people do have the right to and then I just want to see the look in their face as they hear me say that. It's like person of color. And I was yeah, of course, colored people. He's no, person of color. Yeah, colored person. Just watch them watch them melt down.
That's essentially what it is. It's that's what you're saying, right? It's would you call them a colored person? No, that's not what we're. But that's exactly what you're saying.
And also it's very dismissive of individual cultures or characteristics people come from, because saying person of color or colored person is saying that someone from Kenya is the same as someone from Japan, as the same as an Eskimo.
Yeah, it's
just, that's all. That's what you're saying. That there's no difference between a Kenyan, a Japanese person, and an Eskimo.
Yeah, it's going against what they are claiming that they want, and it's oh well, it's actual racists who are changing the language and trying to look for the essence of the thing without actually doing the thing, and then lecturing the rest of us about how great and virtuous that they are, when they're actually much worse.
Exactly. And so I don't know why these women were freaking out because not enough brown or black people were part of their march, when they were representing their demographic up in Northern California.
Yeah.
You know, and it just shows the hypocrisy because you know they say like, oh, you know, don't judge us by the color of our skin or whatever, but you are judging a group of people based on their skin, which is like right nowadays the only permissible form of bigotry or prejudice, which is white people.
But that's okay, Andy. Remember, like, you know, white people are, you know, are monsters. We don't
right.
exist.
White people are the devil.
Yeah.
You know, even though they gave us civilization and industry and the smartphone.
Yeah, just pretty terrible stuff.
I know, right? How dare you? How dare you? You know, how dare you and your ancestors, you know, create a modern civilization? You asshole!
I know. I'm the most evil man in America. I know that.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so I do remember hearing about that. I think before we ended on the year, we talked about all the, you know, pretty much all the left kind of just, you know, being against all the things that are involved with Christmas. Like, oh, this song is terrible. This character is, you know, teaching about bullying and all sorts of stuff. I think we did talk about that, right? A little bit.
Oh, you mean the Rudolph?
You had Rudolph, you had the Baby It's Cold Outside, all that stuff. I think we talked a little bit about all that.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, the Baby It's Cold Outside controversy is dumb because what is it? That's not. Well, for one, it's not a Christmas song. That song was sung in two parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure we talked about we talked about this, but yeah, there's that song is sung in two parts. Because you know, for those of you who don't know, this song is originally from this movie called Neptune's Daughter, and is about. I mean, for those of you, if you've ever seen that movie, that J-Lo movie, Made in Manhattan, kind of that premise,
Yep.
where you know, there's like this suave, sophisticated celebrity type, and there's some like confusion and identity, and like this kind of bumpkin type guy is confused to be that celebrity by one of the leading women who play sisters, and the eldest sister actually gets with the celebrity guy, and then the younger sister actually gets with like the bumpkin and imposter. And yeah, that song is sung in two parts. You know, the suave celebrity guy, you know, is trying to woo the older sister, and then on the flip side, it's the younger sister who's trying to seduce the bumpkin yokel type. And then if you've seen those clips, you see like she's very aggressive. You know, and he's more like, you know, he's kind of more like, hey, you know, I'm just trying to think about you and your reputation, and you know, I don't want people, you know, saying all this stuff about you. But she thinking that, you know, she's next to like this really famous and powerful guy. She's like ready to give it up real easy.
Yeah, it's you know, but hey, it's okay. You know, let's be against all the things.
What was that?
But it's okay. We have to be against all the things now, Andy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Because again, the thing that no one takes into account is that song was written like over 50 years ago.
Right.
there are different cultural norms, there are additional cultural standards. And even when it was the older sister and like the suave guy, there's a flirtatiousness about it. He wasn't like throwing himself at her. He was just like, he was being persuasive and flirtatious in a way, like, when a guy knows that a girl is into him, and it's like, so he will be bold enough to maybe take it a little bit further than he would normally would with a woman.
Right. It's both people wanted to be with each other, but they, obviously, the woman is, trying to, maintain some sort of, respectability and not coming off as some sort of, slutty person.
Right. Exactly.
So there was that. But what also occurred while we were taking our break is that we had the government shutdown, which
what shutdown?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, has not affected my life one bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone like the media has been making it out like this was like the worst thing to happen, and they always go for like that compassionate moral stance. It's like, oh, well, what about all the government workers who aren't going to get their paychecks or whatever? They already missed their first paycheck of the year, and it's like, yeah, well, that sucks, but honestly, how has your life been affected since the government shut down?
Not one bit.
Exactly. I mean, for the average everyday person, it's not affecting anybody. So what? Like they shut down like some parks or whatever. It's like, it's not even like it's like winter time. So like, who's actually gonna go out and into these parks or whatever?
Right, and here's the other thing is, why do we have all these considered what's the word I'm looking for? Jeez. The because they shut down all the non-essential. Why do we have all this non-essential government positions? Like that it kind of raises that thought is, okay, we're shutting down all of these departments that are non-essential. Why do we have all this non-essential shit? We're always talking about, oh, we're in this much debt and all this. It's like, I think this is a great thing. Let's save some money by like cutting off, these, parasitical appendages that are in the government.
Right, because they always talk about government waste, or like bloated bureaucracy. It's like, well, yeah, like why do we have all these like bureaucrats, middle management type people employed? When it's not even having an effect on the average citizen.
Right, and here's the thing is, you have because I've read a bunch of like articles on this and stuff, and you do have your people who are part of the government who do work hard and like they actually do care about their job. Mm-hmm. Awesome. I feel really bad for those people because it kind of, but at this end, but even like some of those people are saying, it's like, yeah, you know what, it's kind of, this is a good time for us to cut some dead weight.
Right. Yeah.
But then, but you have like a strong majority of people who are in these positions, and because they're not going to get fired, it's like, why there's no competition or whatever. So it's like they can, do whatever they want, and they're not going to get fired for it. They have no incentive to actually, do anything. So, or to actually, perform or, be productive. And it's like, oh, I'll just come in and do the bare, not even the bare minimum sometimes, and I'll just yeah.
Right.
That,
And I mean, yeah, because like think about TSA. There's been a bunch of people calling in sick, you know, because they're not going to get paid. But like, you know, has TSA, you know, really decreased terror attacks or you know what have you?
They don't do anything.
They don't do anything. All they do is just, you know, they, you know, increase the wait time, you know, because you have to go through, and they're very intrusive because, you know, they're like feeling up on, you know, old ladies and, you know, touching, you know, and like, you know, patting down the private areas of, you know, little kids. Or they do like those, they put them in those screening machines that basically let you see like everything.
Yeah, it's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and what is it? And it's all security theater. It makes you feel like you're it makes you feel like you're safe, you're being safe and like secure. But it's because you know all it is doing is trying to prevent the last thing that happened.
Right.
But it's not proactively, you know, trying to root out what could happen next.
It's lefty. It's the essence of the thing without actually being a thing.
Yes, exactly. And so, like you know, maybe that could be a place, you know, that we can start, and like we could actually have airlines start taking over the responsibility of security, you know, on their own planes.
Yeah, exactly. It's I'm all for. I want, you know, the least amount of government possible involved in my life.
Right, and I mean, if you want to, like, you know, still keep like a few air marshals, fine, but then just get rid of TSA and get the airlines to, you know, check, you know, do security for their own planes.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have the CNN alarmists who are saying, "Oh, this is the, you know, the worst thing possible," blah, and you know, how could we, you know, you know, how could we? They're making out like these government workers is, you know, some sob story. It's like, well, honestly, like it doesn't affect. It sucks for them. I get that, but honestly, like a lot of those people were not doing anything in the government. They were just, you know, essentially warming a seat.
Well, yeah, and also they're not reporting 100% accurately. I mean, what else is new? But you know, they say it really softly under their breath. But you know, these government workers, they're gonna get paid. They're gonna get back pay.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like no one's say they leave those facts out because they're gonna receive all that back pay once the government is reinstated.
Right.
But but honestly, I'm for let's keep this going for as long as possible so that, you know, maybe we'll see or, you know, the majority of people see is like, you know what? We don't need all this shit. Like, let's just keep it going forever. Yeah. And
right, yeah, I mean, yeah, they'll say like, oh, you know, day whatever, the government shutdown, you know, like workers, they missed their first paycheck, you know, and then they, you know, really quickly under the breath, like, they're gonna get back pay, but it's horrible that they, you know, that they missed their first paycheck of the year.
Yeah, it's so these people are gonna be fine anyways. I'm hoping you know, the whole point of this was to, you know, fund more security on our border, which would be something we desperately need that. You know, I'm all for another brick in the wall, if you'll say. It's or, you know, another, you know, piece of steel slat for the wall, you know, whatever the hell we're gonna, you know, build the wall out of.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because this past weekend I was at a friend's house and we were watching football, and like, you know, the subject kind of came up, and he was saying, you know, and like this other guy was saying like how, you why don't we just, we're gonna have illegal immigrants anyway. So why do we even have a physical barrier? Why don't we just make stricter laws? And I just kind of pointed out to him, like, hey, we already have laws on the books, but we're just not enforcing them. But then also, there's also spots, on the border where it's very porous, where you can literally just walk across.
And because
so,
they know nothing's gonna happen to them.
What was it?
They just walk across. Well, because there's no barrier, and then they know nothing's really gonna happen to them.
Right. Yeah. So I pointed out to him that we can have all the laws that we want, but then if there's nothing impeding these people from entering into our country illegally, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how strict our laws are. And then I pointed out that he even admitted that that we've had illegal aliens since forever. But it doesn't matter if we have stricter laws. What's gonna stop them from coming in? Because if they keep coming back in, then we have to spend money to deport them, buy them a plane ticket back to their country or whatever. And so that's millions of dollars every year spent to deport people just for them to come back in.
Yeah, it's and here's the other thing too is you have now this isn't everyone because there are people that have come across illegally who actually turned out to be a viable asset to the United States, but I think it's a lot not very large numbers in that sense, but you have a good number of you have a lot of human traffickers that are going through illegally. You have the gang members, drug dealers, all this sort of stuff, and this doesn't mean that this has nothing to do with Mexico's a shithole or these other countries they're terrible, blah blah blah. For me, as long as people are coming over to our country to they buy into the idea and the creed that America stands for, I don't care where that person comes from. Come on over. We want people like that. It doesn't matter where they initially come from, but if they're willing to buy into the American idea, the American system, damn, let's where it's I'm not gonna take a handout. I'm gonna work for what I get, and I want those type of people here. But the reality is that from that particular border, we have a lot of people who are kind of the scum and evil of the earth.
Right. I mean, if for nothing else, or for no other reason that they prey on weak, vulnerable people, like women and children.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, don't we want to do as much as possible to stop that predation?
Well, and because we have been a little bit more proactive with the border situation, people have been saying there's been a huge dent taken out of the human trafficking stuff. There's been a lot of these people have been stopped, which is a good thing. We have it's one thing we have a lot of people on the left who they don't really talk about. It's oh yeah, they don't talk about human trafficking and all this stuff because they don't give a shit.
No, yeah, it's just they always claim the moral high ground without giving a reason for it. It's just that recent Ocasio-Cortez, Santa Maria Pinta chick, when she was saying I'm more concerned about being morally right than factually accurate.
Yeah, because she's a complete insane person.
Right, and it's just like it's a improper foundation, because you can be factually accurate, but then not have anything to do with like morality. You know, it's like saying triangles have three sides. You're accurate, you're factually accurate, but it doesn't have anything to do with morality.
To me, truth is moral. That's why.
Yeah. You can just say truth is morality. You know, and
see, but the one thing that's because I do think that she's kind of a dingbat, but one thing that I will say is that she is a very shrewd politician, and she's playing.
Let's not fool ourselves into thinking like she's like this ditzy girl and she's like stands her way into politics. You know, she's very smart. I mean, and she has had like really good education.
Yeah, she didn't Gomer Pyle her way into a Congress with a Congress
or Forrest Gump herself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's yeah. She definitely didn't do that. So she's not an idiot in that sense. Like she knows exactly what she's doing, but the thing is, she's oblivious to the things she's saying, and she accurately represents her generation, who is also just completely bereft of any sort of factual knowledge or
just like critical thinking facilities.
Yeah, they're not thinking beyond like what they think feels good.
Right. It's like healthcare for all. It's like, well, how are we going to pay for it? It's like, oh, we'll just take money from the very tippy top of the 1%.
We're
how do we
doing that?
How do we do that?
And here's the thing: is okay. If we do that, you're gonna take what 70-80% of the money that they make. They're gonna move somewhere else, and where are you gonna get that rest of that money from? People are not going to. People who do well and are successful and are being, they're not going to stand for the government taking 80% of their paycheck every week. And they're going to move somewhere.
And I mean, like they always point to the Eisenhower era tax rate, like 80%, but nobody was paying that.
Nobody.
Nobody was paying that because they were finding ways around that and loopholes and deductions. I mean, have you heard of the Cayman Islands?
Yeah, it was just pretty insane stuff.
Right, and I mean, so. And I mean, this. I think in the long run, this government shutdown is doing wonders.
I want it to keep going. I'm all for just shut her down.
Yeah, and I mean it was hilarious because there was that press conference or the press was covering some sort of meeting with Trump, and one of the reporters was saying like, oh well, why don't you just sign the budget, and then like you guys can talk about border security later. And Trump just like he jujitsu'd it and threw the question back at him. He's like, oh well, if you were president, would you sign that deal? And then the reporter just like kind of got like kind of shit bricks. He's like, well, I'm not president, so I don't know if I would do that.
Apparently, because it was brilliant, to be honest. And it's like, okay, well, no, you're purporting to tell me what to do. So if you were in my situation, would you sign this? Well, but yeah, it's like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly why you'll never ever be in a position to make a good decision.
or make the hard decisions.
Yeah, that's why you're a loser. That's essentially what it was. And then, speaking of the wall, we had Jim Dear Diary Acosta, who was What was he in? Was he in San Diego or part of San Diego, or is it Texas that he was at?
I thought he was in Texas.
Okay, yeah. Well, he was at a section of the border in Texas, wherever the fuck he was, and he was saying like he's right next to a giant wall. By the way, when he's if you guys didn't see his post. And it's like, I don't know what this president is talking about. He's, it's, I'm over here at the border and things are just, hunky dory. Everything's great. It's very calm over here. And it's like because you're standing right at a part where no one's crossing because there's a freaking wall where no one's going to cross over that. And
exactly. Oh, but then, what was it? There was a part that he comes up to where it was like literally up to like his waist, where people could just like come over.
Yeah. But here's the other funny part about that is he's one of the most self-aggrandizing journalists out there. I mean, the guy, it's one of the. He looks at himself every day in the mirror and he's like, yeah, you're the man. It's kind of, but, so he had that post that he put up on, I guess, his Twitter page or whatever. And President Trump, if you guys don't know, there's a great thing with Jim Acosta where people will retweet his post with Dear Diary. Because all of his posts sound like he's, writing in some sort of his diary about himself, about these stories, because, his integrity has been out the window for a long time.
Right.
But after that post that he had about the wall, President Trump retweeted him and said, Dear Diary. Oh, I laughed my ass off when I saw that. That was great.
It's the thing about Jim Acosta is he always finds a way to make a story about himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so, or like he just continually changes it so it's about himself. That press conference that the president was having, and he wouldn't relinquish the mic to the intern.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was. I
well, I mean, he was just being a dick. He got to answer. He got to ask his question, and everyone, all the journalists were permitted one question. And he got his question in, but then he wouldn't relinquish the mic, and he turned. He was asking about. He was there to talk about the migrant caravan, but then he made it about himself. Eventually.
Well, and that's all he can do. He thinks that he's the most important man in the world. So.
Right. I mean, and it's always it's always the one who's not talented or mediocre that always thinks that he's the best.
Yep, he falls into that category for sure.
There's no one more mediocre than Jim Acosta.
Oh boy. So that happened. I'm saying, keep the shutdown going. Let's save some money. Let's cut some dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to cut into this deficit a little bit. And I guess one more kind of important news topic that makes me want to just vomit. Thinking about it or hearing about it is the story of the drag kid. I can never remember this kid's name. but essentially he's like a 10 or 11-year-old boy who is being kind of.
Well, there's two of them.
Yeah, that's right. There's a second one now. Oh, geez.
No, there's always been. First there was that kid in Canada that goes by Lactatia, and then there's the kid who's autistic, and he goes by Desmond is Amazing.
Oh yeah, but there's another one now too. So it's not just those two. There's another one that was running around with RuPaul.
Yeah, that's the Lactatia kid.
Is that Lactatia? Okay, yeah. So yeah. Then it is just those two. But anyways, the Desmond is Amazing kid is the one I was reading articles about, unfortunately, because not because I'm like, yeah, you know what, drag kids, all right, I gotta check out this thing. I'm doing it mainly to inform our audience of like the disgusting nature that our world is heading towards.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, so this kid is not making these decisions on his own. His parents are the ones that are, quote unquote, supporting this lifestyle and, allowing him to go to these gay bars and pose naked with other drag men in magazines. And
well, I mean, yeah, because first there was that Desmond kid. And he was at a gay club, and he had there were grown men like making it rain on him.
Yeah, they were throwing money at him.
Yeah. They're making it rain on him. And he's
like, he was stripping for them, and they were throwing money at him.
Well, not to be defending them, but I don't think he was stripping, but he was dancing on a pole. He was dressed like a girl. I think it was like an homage. It was an homage to Gwen Stefani.
No, okay, it wasn't like stripping in the sense of like getting naked for them, but when you're stripping off layers of clothing, that's stripping. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just going off the base definition of stripping.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I don't like. Yeah, he was like. I mean, because the image, like the short video and images that I saw, he was just like dancing on the pole, and there was a guy just like making it rain on him. Which if you don't find that idea or image disturbing, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, I mean, if you switch it out, if you made it a girl, if it was a little girl and she was at like a real strip club, and there was like a middle-aged man making it rain on her, would you be celebrating it? I mean, I hate to do like the whataboutism, but I think in this case it's valid.
Yeah, it's. Well, here's where here's I'm going to connect it to something that we talked about a number of episodes ago. Is we had the where we unfortunately sat through that disgusting TED Talk that of kind of normalizing pedophilia. Right. Well, this is exactly what's happening, because this wasn't this news story. It wasn't posted on some sort of like fringe website or some sort of conspiracy theory thing on a major news network, ABC News, on Good Morning America. They were celebrating this kid and like applauding him for like, oh, how brave, and he's breaking barriers, and we should be excited for this young kid who's going and being sexualized, and it's like, and I'm
I'm watching this, and it's like, this is the most disgusting thing. The fact that it's happening, it's here. It's not just people us talking about it, like, is, oh well, maybe, it is making pedophilia and all this stuff mainstream and trying to make it okay, and that makes me just I'm at a loss for words. It's the most disgusting thing out there. I think it's horrific.
Right, as do I. And I mean, the latest thing that happened was that Lactatia Kid, and I mean, it wasn't, the image wasn't used, but there is an image of this kid in like wig, makeup, black dress, standing next to a naked adult man.
Yeah, that's
you know, and it's just like. Again, switch out the boy for a little girl standing next to a naked adult man.
But see, I don't think so. Here's not with kid. Like, if it was like a normal, like, like youngish woman, like in her 20s, with like a middle-aged guy, for some sort of like.
No. But that's not what we're talking about here.
But here, it's not just. I mean, yeah, it's happening more with young boys. But I think if it was like a little girl too, I don't think that the left would care. I don't think people would care, because it's. I don't know. I don't think that there would be any outrage. Unfortunately, not as much. Maybe a little bit. And I'm saying that not because I'm like, yeah, woo, yeah, let's keep it moving. I'm saying that because I'm horrified, and I think I see the writing on the wall, unfortunately. This is a evil, debased. I almost don't know what's worse. Like, it's this and abortion to me are two of the most just evil things that we celebrate in this country. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I think above all else, we have to protect children. Like, period. Full stop. And all children.
And kind of even going back to like what we were talking about previously too, is we have the quote unquote families that are coming across the borders. Like, we don't know if those are actual families. A lot of those kids have been kidnapped or have been, molested and used as they're coming across the border, and they're being trafficked. But who doesn't care? The left doesn't care. Is because that doesn't fit the narrative. And it's same thing with this. It's this isn't disgusting. Let's celebrate it. This is what happens.
Because even with like the earlier or kind of last summer with that little girl like supposedly being separated from her mother at the border, that even though that little girl was with her mother, she was extensively kidnapped. Because the father had no idea where she was, or that she was with her mother.
Right.
And I mean, just because the kidnapper just happened to be the mother doesn't make it all right.
Because that's not always the case.
Exactly. I mean, there's one specific case. Yes, it was a mother. But I mean, how many cases are there of parents divorcing and mothers, running away with their children?
Happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But I mean, yes, regardless if that they were family, but there's sometimes these kids are being taken without the knowledge of the other parent.
Yeah,
which I think is just as bad.
It's one of those things where I'm very thankful that I have my faith, because otherwise, if I had no faith in anything, it's, for me, I would just be like, well, this is I would have no faith in anything. It's like, wow, we've gone so far in a direction that there's no hope.
Yeah, no, as a society, there'd be very little reason to hope in this society right now. We luckily for us, we have a higher hope, and but for those people who don't look above themselves for greater strength or purpose, then the kind of nihilism that society has right now is completely understandable.
I mean, yeah, you have people who are trying to create moral and virtue without some sort of foundation for that to have been built upon. And let's be honest, humanity is not necessarily a moral and virtue a moral or virtuous group. It requires something extraordinary for that to take place, which the Judeo-Christian values kind of give us that. The God behind that gives us moral and virtue, where we kind of threw that away. We threw that away at the fall, essentially, and we've been trying to, doing our own thing ever since. But there are people who've given themselves over to God and have been moral and virtuous. And that's with the society is we've kind of moral virtue, and that's why we have all this. Well, let's make the government big. Let's make the government our moral and virtuous center, where it's just it can't be.
Right.
I can't talk about this story anymore. It makes me it's sick to my stomach.
Word. I think we covered everything that we wanted to.
Yeah. Considering with all the issues we had today, we did kind of hit on some of the things, at least in part, some of the things that we wanted to talk about. Maybe not everything. And hopefully, next week we'll get everything worked out and fixed. So that way we can actually have a kind of a business as usual type of episode. As in
fix all the technical stuff.
But hey, every once in a while, FUBAR kind of keeps us on our toes, and that's all.
This is true.
Keeps us alive, Andy.
Yes.
Yes.
God damn, this echo is so great. I apologize to the viewers for the echo. I know it's, as annoying as you find it, it's doubly annoying for me.
Yeah, we feel your pain, and I do think that there is going to be a little bit of echo on your side, Andy, based off of what I was told by some of at least one of our fans. New fan, actually, because she just subscribed today.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check. Well, I don't think it's reflected in the account.
But we'll get those issues worked out, and we have. I had to say though, despite all of these terrible things that are going on in the news, do know that honestly, I actually think for the channel and for life in general, I think 2019 is actually going to be a pretty damn good year. It started off really well for me, and I'm really excited for what we're going to be doing for the channel this year. We got some great ideas, and I know we're just gonna keep plugging along, keep improving, keep putting out good content, getting some good guests, and I think we'll have a lot of fun, interesting topics that come out through the news that we can all laugh and cry about at the same time.
Or we'll just we'll rage quit.
Rage quit, yeah. Occasionally, sometimes I do rage quit on. It's like, you know what? I think I'm done with the news for today.
Yeah. You can't do it. Yeah, you just raise your hands up in the air. It's like, I'm done. I'm done for the day. I just want to rage quit. Quit life. For a little bit. But all right.
Any parting thoughts, Andy?
Huh?
Any parting thoughts before we say goodnight to everyone?
Well, I don't think I should talk all that much because of the echo. So. I mean. Okay. I was reminded of a really good lesson this week. I accompanied my dad to the bank because he had some billing issues, and I guess one of the associates at the bank told him not to worry because he hadn't received his bill in the mail. My dad's old school. He doesn't do the electronic banking. He sends in physical checks. He still balances his checkbook the old-fashioned way, in his checkbook. And so he went to go settle it in December, and one of the associates told him like, "Oh, it's cool. Don't worry about it. You'll be covered for the next month also." And so he didn't think of anything of it until he got another, I guess, like a summary of what the bank associate did for him, and then he saw that there was another late fee on it, and he was like saying, how can there be a late fee if I was being covered for 2 months? And so he went and he argued with the associate, and we were there for a good long while. I'd say for at least 30 minutes. If not 45 minutes. And if it was me, I probably would have just eaten. I probably would have just eaten the late fee. I would just paid it off and just been done with it. But my dad reminded me of a very important thing, and that a dogged attitude. Like he knows he didn't do anything wrong, and he knows that he was in the right. That he did nothing wrong. That that his statement didn't come and it got lost in the mail or whatever. And someone at the bank said that he was going to be okay. And so instead of just taking the path of least resistance, my dad fought it. And he ultimately was accommodated for his trouble. And so I think just kind of laying down and taking things isn't always the best answer. Sometimes you have to stand up for what is right.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think I think for so long we've been told to just like, oh, it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing. Let boys wear dresses. It's not a big thing. Or let the boys make out. It's not a big thing. Or, let the boys suck each other's dicks. It's not a big thing. Say, oh, let the little boy sleep with the middle-aged man. It's not a big thing. And you might think that that's kind of hyperbole, but I mean it's the boiling of the frog that we're dealing with right now. We let things go. Every single time we let things go, we're just one step closer into death. And I realize like how that sounds. I realize how that sounds. It sounds like hyperbole. And it's an exaggeration. But I mean, just take a look around. Just take a look around. I mean, we have young boys dancing at nightclubs, late into the evening, as middle-aged men, throw dollars at them. There was like in that same vein, there was like some like convention where you had like these like cross-dressing men or whatever twerking on the ground, and you had little children like stuffing dollars in their undergarments or whatever. But I'm pretty sure you haven't heard about it. But it's happening, and we're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, every once in a while, it's okay to stand up. It's okay to push back.
And even speaking to that, Andy, like the thing is, I'm not so naive to think that that's never happened before, because unfortunately it has. But what is different now is how out in the open and quote unquote celebrated it is. That's the disturbing part.
Right. Yeah. It's it's kind of like in the Bible where they're talking about like they'll celebrate evil and say it's good.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
It's exactly what's happening. And I mean, and just kind of more like a pop cultural reference. There's that line in Civil War where it's like, when everyone is telling you something wrong and something right, it's your duty to plant yourself like a tree and say no. It's like, and tell them, like, no, I'm not moving, you move.
Yeah.
And so,
Let's keep up
Yeah.
the good fight, Andy.
yeah, I mean, it's okay to stand up. It's okay to push back. Because if you are constantly letting things slide, then you'll have an avalanche on your hands.
Definitely.
So a dogged attitude. Let's cultivate a dogged attitude, and that's where I'll leave. That's how we'll leave it for tonight.
Alrighty.
What?
I was saying already then. Let's
Alright. Thank you for joining us. We apologize for the technical difficulties and the low quality of this stream tonight. We will make adjustments, I promise you. Don't forget to check out the library of other videos that we have, from the Circle of Jerks main podcast to Nocturnal Transmissions and even Robert's show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter @PodcastCOJ and Instagram @Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that being said, we thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.